Om Vakradunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karashyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavakai Tejasvinavadhitamastama Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Chaturthodhyayaha
Atha Chaturdho Dhyayaha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shloka number 18. Karmanya karmayah pashyed
Karmanya karma yah pashet.
Akarmani cha karmayah
Akarmani cha karma yaha.
Sabuddhiman manushyeshu
Sabuddhiman manusheshu.
Sayukta krishna karma krita
Sayukta Krishna karma krita.
Yaha karmani karma pashyati Akarmani karma pashyati Saha buddhiman bhavati manushyeshu Saha yuktaha bhavati Saha krishna karma krit bhavati. Since Atma doesn't have karma, so in the akarma Atma, the one who sees karma, he is not buddhiman, he is buddhu. Atma doesn't have karma. Atma doesn't have karma, and Ahankara doesn't have akarma. So karma, Atma and Ahankara. Atma is always akarta, bhokta. Ahankara is always karta, bhokta. So therefore Ahankara always, because karta, therefore it always does. Even thinking is an action. Need not be physical, thinking. Also a mental action. So therefore these Ahankara and Atma. For the meaning of the shloka is one who sees Atma as it is. Karmani yaha akarma paschet. A person acts, Ahankara acts, but Atma doesn't act. Atma is just a sakshi. Similarly, akarmani, when the Ahankara doesn't act, Ahankara never remains quite Ahankara. Even thinking is an action. There, the person who sees karma, even though the person doesn't act, is acting because Ahankara is there. It is it's action only, it's karma alone. So it's very clear about what is Atma, what is Anatma. So this is Anatma, Anatma Viveka, in fact. So the one who could see distinctly see the differences, distinctly see and discern Atma from Anatma. That person is Buddhiman, that person is Yuktaha, accomplished person. So he has accomplished what is to be accomplished. Krishna Karma Kriti, he has done that everything that is to be done. Atma is akarta and the Atma akarta, this kartrutvam is aropitam because of Agankara. So Agankara is karta bhokta. Atma is karta bhokta. So meaning of the shloka is one who sees Atma as it is. Atma, Aham Atma karta bhokta. Then what is this karta bhokta? That is Agankara. That is Jivaha. The Chirabhasa with Chaitanya. That is karta bhokta. And that is not the reality, it is mithya. Therefore, in the wake of jnanam, Agankara is dismissed. Then the person understands Atma as it is. So therefore, Aham Atma Akarta doesn't have kartrutvam, akarta, bhokta, therefore no samsara. Agankara as samsara, Atma doesn't have samsara. So therefore, here that viveka, buddhi is intellect, buddhi. Saka buddhiman, he is intelligent because he distinctly, he knows Atma and Anatma. Atma and Atma vivekaha, nitya nitya vivekaha, viveki, dhiraha. Now let us read from here. Action is dependent upon Atma. Previously we have seen action, that is mistaking action for inaction and inaction for action. Atma is neither karta nor bhokta nor karita. Atma doesn't do. So therefore Atma doesn't act. So if Atma is considered to be a karta, kartrutvam is aropita. So therefore inaction, mistaking inaction for action, that Atma is considered to be a karta, that is inaction for action, and action for inaction, the person doesn't do anything, it simply keeps ketushnim bhavaha, but the person is acting because Agankara is that, therefore mistaking action for inaction. On the Agankara, the one who sees, the one who superimposes. Now the one on the Agankara, on the Agankara, the one, the mistaking action for inaction. The Agankara Jiva, Agankara is considered to be a kata, that is a mistake. Similarly, Atma is considered to be kata, that is a mistake. So these mistakes. Agankara cannot remain quiet. Agankara cannot be akarta. Atma cannot be karta. That is what mistaking action for inaction for action. You have seen that. Now action is dependent upon Atma. At the same time, no action is totally independent of Atma. And in Atma, there is no action whatsoever. Agankara is karta, bhokta, but Agankara itself cannot be independent, remain independent. It cannot exist independently because it has Satya, Atma, Adhishtanam. It is Mithya. Therefore, if it exists independently, then it becomes another reality. Then Atma cannot be Atma. The Agankara doesn't exist independent of Atma. So no action is totally independent of Atma. Action implies Agankara, therefore, Agankara doesn't exist independent of Atma. No action is totally independent of Atma. And in Atma, there is no action whatsoever. Because people do not know this. They are under the spell of delusion, moha, and ajnana, ignorance, and seeing action in inaction, and inaction in action. This is a mistake. And the Agankara seeing Atma, and the Kartrutva Agankare, Akartrutva Atma Aropita. Similarly, inaction in action. Akartra Atmani, this Kartra Agankara Aropanam. That's a mistake. Whereas Buddhiman doesn't do that mistake. The shloka presents it positively. Yes, Swamiji presents it in the other way. It's called Anvaya Vitireka. One who is able to see Atma as a karta never performs any action, even when he does an action, karma. Because his abhimana is with Atma, not with Agankara. Ahankara only does karma. Atma doesn't do karma. Therefore, Atma is akarta. So one who has a vision of akarta Atma, he doesn't perform any karma. Such a person will see akarma in karma, even though he does, but he's not doing. Contradiction. It's not contradiction. Ahankara does. Agam Atma doesn't do. Yes, Abhimana with Atma only, not with Ahankara. Therefore, akarmani, akarma in karma, karmani akarma, because he knows Atma doesn't perform any action whatsoever. Such a person, Buddhiman, will see akarma in karma, karmani akarmaya pashyet. Even though he does karma, but he doesn't do karma. So akarma meaning Atma in karma is in action. Even though the person does action, but he sees akarma, no action in that. That is possible only as in yat abhimana with Atma. The nature of Atma. The nature of Atma, the self, it is in the form of pure consciousness, Chaitanyam. The very word self implies that which doesn't need to be revealed to you because it is satasiddham, self evident, the self by anything else. You require no means of knowledge, no pramana to prove your existence. All the other pramanas are required to prove the existence of the objects which are existing. What pramana required to prove your existence? No pramana. Shastram also not a pramana. Shastram is not a pramana to prove the existence of Atma. It is to remove the ajnana only, not to prove the existence, because self is self-evident. That which requires no pramana, no means of knowledge, that which is self-evident is a self-Atma. So Shastram is not for knowing Atma. The Atma is already known, but not completely known. That is why samsara is. It is known as a same time not known. That is why samsara. Anything not completely known is a problem. And what is its nature? What is the nature of Atma? It is in the form of pure consciousness, knowledge as such. Because Atma is unqualified knowledge. What knowledge Atma is? Unqualified. There can be particular knowledge which is nothing but consciousness plus some qualification that appears in the form of this form of knowledge of this or that. So physics knowledge, chemistry knowledge, that knowledge is particular knowledge is that particular knowledge. But what about Atma? Atma is unqualified, it is not is something qualified. It is jnana. Knowledge as such must be there before it can be qualified. For example, it's a beautiful discussion here. For example, there can be pot knowledge, katak jnanam, cloth knowledge, patak jnanam, man knowledge, purusha jnanam, or woman knowledge, stri jnanam. There must be knowledge as such, unqualified by anything. In everything, knowledge is there. All this pot knowledge is qualified by pot knowledge, cloth knowledge, purusha jnana, man knowledge, woman knowledge. This unqualified knowledge without which cloth knowledge is not possible. Therefore, this unqualified knowledge, it is the nature of Atma. Knowledge as such gets seemingly qualified in the form of thought, vritti. Without vritti, knowledge seems to be, with vritti, knowledge seems to be qualified. Without vritti, it is unqualified. The space between the two thoughts, where there are the space between the two thoughts, which is free from any object vritti, which is free from vritti, space between the two vritti. What is that in the space? Knowledge, which doesn't have any vritti, unqualified. When pot vritti is there, pot knowledge. When cloth vritti is there, cloth thought, cloth knowledge. In between the two, what is there? There is unqualified knowledge. Only Chaitanyam consciousness is. This unqualified knowledge is consciousness, the nature of Atma that performs no action. Why do we say that Atma performs no action? One reason is that action implies motion or some change. Karma implies some motion or change. Try to think of an action without motion, without change. Not possible. Any motion, any change from one condition to another, from one form to another is action. Even a chemical reaction is an action. But can we say that Atma, whose nature is consciousness, subject to action? Consciousness is not subject to motion. because it is all pervasive. Sarva Vyapi. Second chapter we have seen. Ajo Nityas, Ajo Nityas, Ajo Nitya, Ajaha Nityaha, it is Sarvataha iti. Shashvataha Puranaha, it is Avyayaha Sarva Vyapi. So the second chapter, the Atma was, the nature of Atma was presented. So Avinashi, it is Vinasham, Avyayam, iti Ajaha, it is Nityaha, Shashvataha, Puranaha, Achedyaha, Sarvagataha, Sarvagata, all pervasiveness. So Atma being all pervasive, it is not located at one point for it, move to another point. Therefore, there is no motion, there is no gati, no movement. Consciousness doesn't move within itself either. Nor does it have any part to undergo any change. Doesn't have parts, no anga. That's why it is avyaya. Vyaya changes possible only when a thing has parts. Atma doesn't have parts. It's not put together. It's not an assemblage. Therefore, nor does it have any part to undergo change. Therefore, consciousness not being an assemblage of things. Therefore, no change possible. Only that which is put together can undergo change. Things that are put together will naturally fall apart without anything being done. It is the nature to fall apart, which is also an action. Shariram is put together, body is put together. That's why body asti jayate, vardate, viparinamate, pakshiyate, finally, maranam vinashyati, body subject to change. It is the nature to fall apart, which is also an action. Even a car that is kept unused for 25 years will undergo some change. And Rolls Royce is no exception. Whether the car is running or not running, it is subject to change simply because it was put together. Samghatatvat, that's a hetu. The reason is samghatatvat because put together on account of being an assemblage, therefore subject to fall up, subject to separation, subject to changes. There is always entropy for things that are put together. A good way to understand entropy is to leave your room as it is for some time without doing anything about it. Just live in it. Don't sweep the floor. Don't clean. Don't put anything back in its own place. What will you have? Entropy. Entropy is a technical term used in thermodynamics. Is used here. Entropy. Inevitable and steady deterioration of a system or society. That means entropy. Anything that is put together tends to dissipate, to fall into disorder. This movement from order to disorder is entropy, which is also action. Only the Atma, self, is not subject to this entropy. Consciousness, the nature of I, the self, doesn't tend towards disorder because there is no order. Atma not being made of parts. Only when there is creation is there an order and therefore disorder. Atma is not created. So it is, therefore, it is, there is no, there is, therefore, it is, there is no order. Creation has order and human beings are free will. So therefore, you can disturb the order, but Atma doesn't have order. So it is not made of parts, therefore it is not subject to any order. So it is as it is. Atma is one whole, limitless in nature. Atma being not limited in any way, what can it do? It cannot go anywhere because it is not limited place-wise. It cannot change or modify itself into anything. It cannot grow into something or dissolve into something. No action is possible for Atma. There is not even sankalpa, decision in Atma. Nor is there any kind of thought, which is also an action. Vritti is the thoughts, vritti, thoughts, it's an action. Atma doesn't think, doesn't have the thoughts, doesn't have vritti. Atma is the witness of the vritti. The thoughts also, it's an action. Atma doesn't have karma at all. Even with regard to the thinking action. Thinking action is illumined by, thinking action is because of Atma and thoughts are illumined by Atma. To say I remain quiet, yes, tushni bhavaha, I don't do anything, I remain quiet, means there are other times when I'm not able to be quiet. Consciousness doesn't say this because consciousness is always quite nirvikalpa. Vikalpa, opposite of Vikalpa is nirvikalpa. Vikalpa changes Nirvikalpa, no change. Therefore, undergoes no modification whatsoever, vikalpa whatsoever. Because there is nothing separate from consciousness, vikalpa is not possible. All vikalpas are dependent on Atma, which is nirvikalpa. All the changes happen not on Atma. All the changes happen with having Atma as the basis, Adhisthana. There is no such thing as a self going into something or reaching out to the world. It has already reached out to the infinite. It is infinite. It is Purna, one whole, free from all limitation, the form of pure, simple consciousness. Atma performs no karma, nor does it prompt someone else to perform action. Atu karta na karayita. And in its presence alone, all activities take place. Next, the doer. The doer I. The doer is I, but I is not the doer. Karta is Atma, but Atma is not the Karta. Karta is Agankara. Agankara is Atma, but Atma is not the Agankara. It is similar to the example. The actor, the actor performs the role of a beggar. Beggar is A, but A is not the beggar. Beggar is A, but A is not the beggar. Iti. Okay. So therefore, the doer is I, but I is not the doer. When there is an action in the mind, senses, and body, karya, karana sangata, there is presence of the Atma, the Karta, being nothing but Atma. Atma is not the Karta, but when the Karta is there, Atma is there. I am not the Karta as a fact, that is not known. It is known only to the Buddhiman. I know myself only as a Karta. I am the seer, I am the hearer, thinker, doubter, worker. I know that I am the doer of all these actions, but I don't know that Agam Akarta, Abhukta, Atma, non-doer. Not knowing that Aham Akarta, the Karta naturally becomes I for me and I becomes a Karta. In fact, the Karta is I, but I is not the Karta. The problem occurs when the Karta is I and I is also the Karta. This happens when the I is not known. I meaning the Atma Chaitanyam is not known. A person who knows a self sees action, inaction in action. Karma ni akarmaya pashyet. Similarly, action in inaction. Karma ni akarmaya pashyet. Akarmani karma pashyet, which is other than that what we generally understand by akarma and karma. Because doership kartrutvam is there, akarma is reduced to karma only. Even though the person not doing, it is doing only. Because kartrutvam is agankara is there. Because there being a karta, an agent, for akarma also, not doing also karma. Because karta is there. The person who says, I don't do any action, is doing action. Because there is doership. And the person takes himself or herself to be the doer of even no action. I perform action, I perform don't action. The person. As long as the karta is there, even if the person doesn't do action, physical action, even mental action, the person is doing. Karma also is there. Be it pravritti or nivritti, action or inaction. Both belong to the karta alone. For the one who says things as they are, he has knowledge, buddhi. If the person knows I am not the karta because he sees akarma in both karma and the so-called akarma. And this person, the one who sees Atma as one that is free from kartrutvam, he alone sees, he alone enjoys, he alone is a jnani who has the vision of the Atma. Others are confused. He alone sees. The person is called Buddhiman. The literal meaning of Buddhiman is Buddhihi, Tasya Astiti Buddhiman, the one who has intellect. Everybody has intellect. Why is this person says Buddhiman? Buddhi, he means he has knowledge. The meaning of Buddhiman is the one who has an intellect, Buddhi, just as Degavan, the one who has a physical body. But everyone has a Buddhi. Why didn't Krishna call this person a Buddhiman? Here, the buddhi has to be understood here as the wisdom, jnanam, in the form of self-knowledge, atma jnanam, saha jnani ityartaha, buddhiman. The one who has buddhi has a knowledge of self and is therefore wise, buddhiman. Wisdom is seeing things as they are. The one who sees things as they are in terms of reality, he has jnanam and therefore he is wise, buddhiman, jnanavan. Wisdom doesn't mean that the person has generated a new line of thinking. Here Krishna refers to a person who is able to see karma and akarma as they really are, as a buddhiman, a wise person among human beings. Saha buddhiman manushyeshu. Krishna also called this person a yogi, yuktaha, saha yuktaha bhavati, meaning that he or she has lived a life of yoga, which has paid off in terms of jnana, wisdom. Yoga being meant for gaining this knowledge, as a person having lived a life of karma yoga, as a yogi, he has gained what it had to offer him. This is a real karma yogi, accomplished yogi, yuktaha. Understanding what is to be understood, he or she is a person of fulfillment, Krishna karma krita. Therefore, next topic, samsara. Samsara is centered on doership. Samsara is centered on ahankara. Moksha is centered on atma. To know oneself as akarta is to know oneself as abhokta, who is not an enjoyer. If you're not the enjoyer of results of any action, then there is no punya papa for you. No punya papa, no sukha dukkha, therefore no punerjanma. When there is no punya papa, there is no sukha dukkha, meaning that you are above sukha and dukkha. Sukha dukkha being the net result of karma pala, or also karma pala, the results of action. You may have performed a certain karma, received some money. Because of that money, you have big house and are very comfortable. Because all of this, you are very happy. Being comfortable, being happy, it's a karma pala for you. Dukkha is also similarly a karma pala. The house you bought turned out to be in a bad neighborhood. You were happy with the house until it was broken into and you were robbed. No matter how many new alarm systems you install, the results are same: frequent robberies and vandalism. So the same house that had made you sukhi for some time, now it has made you dukhi. Either way, it is all karma pala, punya papa only. You asked for it and you got it. Because all unseen results, punya papa, fructify in the form of sukha and dukkha. Therefore, all karmas are capable of producing sukha and dukkha for the karta. As long as I take myself to be the karta, I am subject to sukha dukkha. Punya papa, therefore sukha dukkha. To be subject to sukha dukkha is what is called samsara. Sukha dukkha themselves are not samsara. The notion that I am subject to them, sukha dukkha, is samsara and makes me a samsari. So I am subject to them. Kartrutvam is there, therefore I become sukhi and dukkhi. I am subject to sukha and dukkha. That is samsara. Samsara is really there. Samsara itself is a notion. That the physical body is subject to pain is a fact. But if I say I am subject to pain, that is samsara. Because body is exists because of Atma. Atma doesn't exist because of body. Atma exists in spite of body. The one who has abhimana with the sharira, he will be subject to dukkham. The one who has abhimana with Atma, enjoying the body, in spite of the pain, he will not be subject to samsara. He will have objective approach even towards the pain of the body. I am subject to pain is different from the physical body, subject to pain. There's a difference. If you say the body is subject to pain, it's a simple truth. It's a fact. Because it states a fact about the empirical world. Yes, the body is in pain. The creation is like that. As Bhagavan said in the third chapter, Matra Sparshasya Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha Agamapayino Nityaha Tantitikshasva Bharata. Nothing can be done. They come and go. Sukha Dukkha, all the pairs of opposites. The creation is like that. The body endowed with sensation of pain as a means of protection. Otherwise, one would not pay attention to it at all. Pain indicates that something is wrong and needs attending to. Therefore, physical pain is an important part of the creation. So body has pain, but what about I? That the body is subject to pain is true. That I am subject to pain is an opinion, a notion. That's not a fact. That is called samsara. It is not true because Atma is not the enjoyer of the results of action, sarvapala bhokta. Atma is not the enjoyer because it is not the karta, the doer. Yatra yatra kartrutvam, tatra tatra bhoktrutvam. Atma is not karta, then how can he be a bhokta? One who knows that he or she is not the enjoyer is called Krishna Karmakate. It's a beautiful word. It's not the enjoyer of enjoyer, no more enjoyer. When one is able to recognize oneself as free from doership, he or she becomes free from enjoyership also. Krishna Karmakate. So akartartvam, akarta and bhokta. So Krishna Karmakate is that person is a bhokta. Being free from enjoyership means the punya papa standing in one's account are all taken care of. Such a person who is free from a sense of doership and enjoyership is called Krishna Karma Krita. For him, everything that has to be done now or later has been done. Nothing to be done. No more punarjanma, no coming back. No new incarnation has to be taken by that person. No karma remains to prompt after another birth. Because all the punya papa in his account are cancelled. In this life also, whatever the person thought he or she would do is gone because the person is Ananda, Purnaha, fulfilled, fullness itself. He or she is above Sukha Dukkha, liberated from the subjugation of karma. All Sanchita karmas are cancelled and this because of Prarabdha Vasha, he continues. Therefore, he is Krishna Karma Krita. Then the next topic, inaction is not the absence of action. I think we'll continue that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Dhanyavadaha